There's this invisible force that can shape our entire lives. It's a shadow that hangs over every new beginning, every big ambition. Today, we're talking about the fear of failure.
I mean, have you ever really felt that paralysis? That knot that just tightens in your stomach before you even begin something new? A project, a job application, even just a difficult conversation? It's this deeply human feeling that makes us want to retreat before we even take the first step.
And here's what's so interesting about it. The fear isn't really about the act of failing itself. Not really. It's all about the anticipation. It's the terror of what could happen. It's a feeling that doesn't just calculate the cost of a fall, it makes that fall feel absolutely inevitable.
So, let's really dig into this. Because this fear, it's often a symptom of something much deeper going on inside our psyche. What you could call the tyranny of perfection.
I mean, just think about it for a second. We are constantly shown the end result, right? The trophy, the promotion, the finished masterpiece. But we so rarely get to see the messy process behind it all, the countless mistakes, the dead ends, the crumbling ground that was necessary to build that success. And this idealization, well, it creates an impossible standard for us to live up to. So, how do we cope with that kind of pressure? Well, we develop a pretty sophisticated psychological mechanism. We build a mask to face the world. The psychologist Carl Jung actually had a name for this. He called it the persona. It's that carefully curated version of ourselves that we present to everyone else. It's designed to look competent and successful and to be accepted. It's our public face. And this right here, this is the core conflict. The fear of failure, when you get right down to it, is fundamentally the fear of that mask breaking. It's the absolute terror that if we fail, the world, and maybe even we ourselves, will finally see the messy, unfinished, unoptimized reality that's hiding behind that polished exterior.
This is exactly why procrastination can be so incredibly powerful. It isn't just laziness, not at all. It's a defense mechanism. Our own psyche, in a kind of cruel act of self-protection, decides that the certainty of just standing still is better than the mere possibility of pain. Because hey, if we never start, we can never fail.
But to really, truly understand this tyranny, we have to go even deeper, all the way back to where it started. Because so often, this fear is just an echo of a much, much older wound.
It can start way back in childhood, when a child learns, either directly or indirectly, that love and approval are conditional, that they have to be earned through perfect grades or flawless behavior. Psychologists sometimes call this a narcissistic wound, this deep-seated feeling of inadequacy that's born from the belief that our core worth is tied to how well we perform.
And this is the crucial point. For an adult who's carrying this wound, failure isn't just a momentary event. No, it feels like a confirmation of that core belief. It's that little voice whispering, "See, I knew it. You're not good enough after all."
And that's why the emotional stakes feel so impossibly high. When we fail at a project, we aren't just mourning the loss of a job or some opportunity. We are often, without even realizing it, reliving that profound childhood feeling of disappointing someone whose love we desperately needed. Okay, so if this fear is rooted so deep, what are we supposed to do? How can we possibly overcome it? Well, the answer isn't to somehow avoid failure, but to completely redefine it. And this is where a Stoic reframing can be incredibly helpful. The Stoic philosopher Seneca taught that we should detach our sense of self-worth from outcomes, because outcomes are often completely outside of our control. Instead, he said, we should focus only on what we can control, our effort, our intention, and our actions.
Now, this shift in mindset is absolutely profound. Instead of obsessing over the outcome, seeing failure as some deep character flaw, and making your goal to just avoid falling, the Stoic approach puts the focus on your effort. It redefines failure as simple information, just brutal, honest feedback that helps you adjust for your next attempt. Suddenly, the goal is no longer to avoid the fall, it's to learn how to get back up.
And this leads to such a powerful change in perspective. You start to see your life not as a performance in some big auditorium where you're constantly being judged, but as a series of experiments in a laboratory where the whole point is to test, to learn, and to try again.
So the path forward really involves an internal shift. It's about giving yourself something you've probably been waiting for your whole life, a license to fail.
The very first step is to create some critical distance between who you are and what you do. See, to fail is an action, it's a verb, but a failure is an identity, it's a noun. An act of failing does not and should not get to define your entire being.
This isn't some simple checklist. It's a profound mental liberation. It all starts by letting go of perfection. Then, you grant yourself that license to try, knowing you might not succeed. And finally, you embrace this fundamental truth: the perfectionist who waits forever achieves nothing. But the imperfect person who actually acts is the one who learns and grows.
And remember, that paralyzing voice in your head is just that, a voice. It's an echo from your past, a remnant of an old wound. It is not a prophecy of your future. You can listen to it, you can understand where it comes from, and then you can choose a different path.
So the next time you feel that paralysis setting in, don't judge yourself for it. Instead, just ask yourself this one quiet question. What am I really afraid of losing here? What part of my identity, what part of that mask I'm wearing, do I feel is being threatened? The answer to that question might just be the first step toward a kind of freedom you didn't even know you needed.